pledge of today of the European Commission is $225 million. This comes in addition to pledges made by our member states for a total of $753 million from the European citizens through the Commission and through their national budgets. That brings the engagement of Europe in this crisis to a very high level of $3.5 billion since the beginning of the crisis, because the needs exponentially have increased. Just for comparison, when I came here last year, we pledged $136 million. We delivered seven times more, close to a billion, because of the enormous degradation of the humanitarian conditions in the country and in the neighborhood.
So the 753 million is for today.
This is the new.
And the member states.
This is the new pledge made by European Union through the Commission and the member states' budgets, I would not be surprised if by the end of the year we actually have been funding even more.
And what are the priorities? Where should this money go to?
We have established three priorities for our funding. First, inside Syria, where the needs are most profound and where we can do more if there is more access. And actually one of the main messages we are conveying here to the fighting parties is please spare civilians and let humanitarian workers deliver assistance in besieged areas. 250,000 people are in areas where no help gets in, neither they can live, and another 2.5 million Syrians rarely get assistance. Secondly, we support the refugees, 2.3 million people in the neighboring countries. And for them we provide funding for food, shelter, medical care, but also protection of children and women, and education for the youth of Syria. And third, we help the local communities and the neighboring countries to be able to withstand this enormous pressure on them. What is happening to Lebanon and Jordan in particular is so tragic. The arrival of Syrians has pushed wages down, but prices up. And it is enormously difficult for local people to cope. If we want to prevent flaring of conflict to spread any further, it is paramount to help communities. Overall, overriding objective for us is also to lift up attention to the young people, the children and youth of Syria. Because when this madness finally ends, those are the people who have to rebuild the country if they have the skills and the social fabric to do so. The problem is that help gets relatively easy in government-controlled areas and in opposition-controlled areas, but not in the contested areas, in the areas of fighting. So our people need to know that they have been saving lives. We have immunized 1 million Syrian children against polio so far. Where we talk about access, it is about those 2.5 million that are in the fighting zones, and especially those 250,000 people that are in besieged areas. For them, ceasefires, local ceasefires are absolutely necessary, and this is what we are saying. If we are able to get chemical inspectors in and chemical weapons out, we should be able to get medicine and doctors in and wounded people out. And this meeting also is a platform to muster the political ambition to do exactly that. For the countries in the region, help is not a problem to get to people. What is a problem is the sheer magnitude of this tsunami of refugees that has gone there, and that the skills and capabilities of the humanitarian organizations are overstretched. Last year, we also had other tragedies. We had the Philippines, Central African Republic, now South Sudan. So the Syria crisis is not only damaging the Syrian people, but it is throwing a long shadow over millions of suffering people in other places in the world. What is the way out? The way out is a political solution. Everybody has to finally get to where we are in the humanitarian community, that there is no military solution to the Syria crisis. it cannot be won with military means. We have seen that over these 2 years. It can only be won through negotiations at the negotiating table. The sooner, the better.
Thank you very much.
Could I just ask you
You're
a
welcome.
question?
Of course.
Really quickly. Could you just shed light on the European Commission's perspective of Kuwait's initiative to host this summit for the second year?
I am very grateful to the Emir of Kuwait and the government of Kuwait and the people of Kuwait for bringing us a second year in a row. I pray that next time when Kuwait calls a conference, it would be on the reconstruction of Syria, not anymore on the humanitarian tragedy. What it has done is not only to raise substantial amount of funds. Last year, $1.5 billion led to saving lives and reducing suffering of millions of people. And this year, I am confident that we will exceed significantly the pledge from last year. We, from Europe, have pledged a total of $753 million. The European Union member states and the European Commission together. The share of the European Commission I'm responsible for is $225 million. But in addition to the money, what this conference does is to build the foundation of solidarity and the political will to bring an end to the conflict through negotiations. And in this sense, invaluable is what Kuwait does for the Syrian people, for their neighbors, and for the whole world.
And you think the timing of this conference that falls in line with the timing of the Geneva II conference, do you think that they will both complement each other?
I got the sense from the presentations today that indeed messages are being structured for the next round of meetings that would concentrate on the political solution that concern the survival of people, like making sure that there are confidence-building humanitarian measures within the talks, ceasefire locally in these besieged areas so help can get in and wounded and the sick can leave. That is being built up here in this conference, and I would like to see it carried forward. It is not going to be easy. It is not going to be easy. So much blood has been shed in Syria. To bring peace would not be easy. But we know from history that every war ends up with a political solution. In Europe, we had the 100-year war once. Even the 100-year war in the end, was brought to closure through a political process.